Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. On the podcast, we'll talk to experts on everything from Thomasville history and events to daily operations and city business, all while having some fun in the process.
Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. I am Austin Reams, back with you again, and I'm here with Ricky, the great Zambrano. Ricky, how you doing, buddy?
Austin, you were banned from using that phrase, and you went right back to it. In 2026, we came to an agreement in 2025 that you would not say that, so I'm a little disappointed, offended, mad, all of the above. But more importantly, I'm going to whisper this so that someone doesn't hear it. A little nervous today because the boss lady.
That's right. We got to behave today. We can't,
Normally,
Christy Owens is here to host because she's the pro.
So you've called in mom today,
I know. She let us bozos handle it. But we do have a special guest with us today. So but speaking of special too, we had the bicentennial celebration for the city of Thomasville, and that was a pretty cool event put on by our marketing team. They did a great job, and I enjoyed the day. A lot of nonprofits out there just kind of celebrating, who we are. I love the impact project of doing 200 things as a way to give back, and kind of your thoughts on the day, Ricky.
Well, I think, as always, Rhodes probably stole the show.
Yep.
And when Rhodes goes up on a stage with a birthday hat on.
Yeah, that's former mayor, Jay Flowers, his dog, who is a person, basically.
Absolutely. I think, Rhodes probably behaves better than you.
Yes, well, than most of, that's a low bar, but he behaves better than most of the rest of us. The hilarious thing.
He kept the hat on.
The hilarious thing is Jay talks to him like he's a person. Yeah. Like, hey Jay, be like, hey Rhodes, come over here.
Well, and Jay did say that he was going to buy 200 more dogs as his project.
That is ambitious.
That'd be. I can't. Kids are mad at me that we don't even have one in the house. So,
yeah.
Jay doesn't make me look too good when he brings out Rhodes out there, and
Yeah.
Well, we'll get off the dog topic because, then again, my kids don't listen to this. So
there we go. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, but I think the highlight is so many things, but that band.
Yeah, they were good.
That band. I saw you boogieing. I saw you recording and then shaking and grooving a little bit.
There you go. Yeah.
Showing off those Austin Reams dance moves.
Yep. I haven't. They haven't really caught on across America, but I'm trying. It hasn't kept me from trying.
Yeah, so, obviously that band, it was recommended by our council and city leadership, and they hit a home run with that one. So that was a phenomenal way to kick off the year. And, it kind of sets the bar pretty high, to be honest, as we go through the rest of the year. So, that band got us the bicentennial started in a great way, and we're looking forward to see everything else that will take place throughout the year in regards to celebrating our bicentennial.
Absolutely. So let's get this, speaking of getting started right, let's get this podcast and the interview started off right.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we kind of said earlier, we've got our boss lady here with us. So we've got the pleasure of having our Assistant City Manager, Sheryl Sealy. Austin, do you realize that Sheryl was the one that hired me?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's all her fault.
I know. It's all,
it is all her fault.
If you're Sheryl Sealy, you can't bat 1,000. You swing and miss every now and then.
Yeah.
So,
that was a good one.
It was.
Let's say it was like a bunt. Maybe it was a bunt base hit.
It's a bunt. Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't a line drive base hit. It was a bunt, and just kind of.
But if I hadn't brought Ricky on, who would you have your banter with now?
I know. Who would I give a hard time with? It's totally
Andy Goodwin.
Yeah. Don't
somehow
do
I
that
don't
to
see
me.
Andy as a podcast co-host.
Yeah, you can't complain for 30 minutes on a podcast. So no, we can't have it.
Poor Andy.
But Andy has a lot of followers.
He does.
His following
He does.
is huge. He's got thousands of followers.
It's scary. It's a very scary thought to put that out there in the universe. But you are correct.
Well, I am honored to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, Sheryl. Thank you for being here with us. We are here to discuss a very big part of our capital projects in 2026, and that is our municipal buildings. So let's get things started here with Ms. Sealy. And how long has the city been studying the needs of the auditorium, and what were the first steps in this process?
We actually started looking at the auditorium several years ago because we knew that there was some maintenance that needed to happen, and we were applying for various grants. And one of the things they would tell us that we needed to do was to do a historic preservation study. So basically, before you get started preserving a building such as this that is historic in nature, you need to know what the bones of the building look like. What are the things that are unique and make it historic? So we did that preservation study in about, I think it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and that really gave us a good jumping off point to know what all we had here that needed to be preserved, what all we had that was unique to this facility, and it really just helped us take that first step forward in a process that, to be honest, we really didn't know how to get started with before. We knew we needed to do a lot of work, but we didn't know where step one was. So that really gave us step one.
All right, and then jumping along with that, you did maybe a market study. And can you tell me what that was, and kind of the outcomes? What was the purpose of the study?
The market study is very different from the preservation study, because the market study was not about the building necessarily. The market study really looked at what could we do here. So if you didn't have any limits on the facility, meaning that everything was up to par, what is Thomasville positioned to bring in and host here? What kind of market can we draw here? So you're really looking at it from not just downtown economic development activity, but you're also looking at it from tourism dollars. Who's going to travel here to see what type of show? What type of show is interested in coming to a market like Thomasville? So that really gave us an idea of what we could support here so that we didn't overbuild or underbuild in the construction process. So that was very beneficial for us in knowing that, smaller regional productions are really where our fine point is. And, maybe we don't really have the stage capacity for like traveling, touring Broadway shows or, very large productions. So it really helped us to narrow down what that sweet spot would be for us.
Well, and as we could see, there's a lot of steps that go along with this. It's not just as simple as we need to do some work and let's go out there and let's take a look around the walls and see what we need to fix. Because in addition to what we just discussed, there was also a facility assessment, a comprehensive facility assessment. So what can you tell us, about that facility assessment?
Yeah, so we knew of some things that we needed to do here. Like we knew that we had a water intrusion problem here, and that's basically where the water moisture seeps in from the bricks and the exterior envelope shell, and it comes into the building. And when it gets in here, it does things like deteriorates the paint, plaster, other woodwork, things like that. Moisture inside of a building, that's a bad thing. You want to try to curtail that. So that's just an example of one of the things that we knew, but how do you address that? As far as everything else you need to do, what comes first? It's kind of like the chicken or the egg. So doing an assessment of the facility helped us to know in what order we needed to prioritize these things. So that came with that study. What we found is that we actually were looking at a two-pronged approach to this. So phase one would deal with the deferred maintenance and also life safety issues, while phase two was more of that facility enhancement, or you can look at it as, one of them addresses the bones, it's building the house. The other one's the landscape plan. It's making it pretty. So that's a good way to kind of differentiate between the two.
It's kind of like that phase two is all those Amazon boxes that show up in the
That's
in
right.
The front porch,
Phase one is building the house. So phase two is the fun part. You get to decorate it.
Yeah. So on phase one, and tell me, of course, we'll get to phase two in a little bit, but what is the projected timeline for these well, let's say for both of them, for both renovations? So
phase one is actually starting this year. So we do have the money in the budget for that. That's a little over $6 million that has been allocated by our council to address the deferred maintenance and life safety issues. So in that process, we will be looking at the exterior, like I said, the water intrusion that we have, but it's also some facade repairs. If you're local to Thomasville and you walk by and just look up, you'll see some of that facing facing that's starting to crack, or maybe it's a little bit discolored, looks like it needs a good pressure washing. Well, you have to be careful in how you pressure wash a building like this, or it's gonna crumble all apart. We know our windows and some of the other masonry parts of the building, we really need to take our time with that. So we'll look at all of that. The exterior, we'll look at egress, ingress, where those points are, how is it made safe. That leads right into the other life safety issues like fire suppression, addressing ADA compliance. I mean, it's a historic structure. It wasn't built when, that was something that people were necessarily very mindful of. So there's some work, while we are accessible, we maybe can make some improvements to be more accessible. We have, HVAC issues that we need to address. And that's just the part before you even get to the auditorium piece of it, which is, the ceiling, the architectural components there, the lighting, rigging, all of that kind of stuff. So the bones of what you really need to have a production and not just have it, but have it safely is part of what we're addressing in that phase 1. So we look for that to last about a year.
And in order to make the sound, as it is as well, it's not like nothing's ever been done. There have been things throughout the years, but
absolutely.
It just now requires a major.
Right. The last time we did a major renovation to this building, it was back in the early 2000s. And, I like to share this fun fact. My oldest child, who is 30 years old now, her picture was used as the face of that campaign, and she was about 3 or 4 then. So that tells you how long it's been since we've really addressed paint and just some of those, more simple things inside. And that's not even talking about a huge renovation, but that's when we initially did the big renovation here. And unfortunately, there's just not been a lot of love given to that to maintain some of that. And, after 25 years, you're going to have some wear on it. So it's time for us to really look at how we make this building not just safer, but function better, and also function better for our users.
Well, it's interesting what you mentioned about, walking around outside and looking up and feeling like, can't we just pressure wash that? Well, prior to my time working with the city, I would drive by and sometimes, like you mentioned, I'd look up and be like, oh, that couldn't just use a pressure wash.
Yeah, you would think so. But, unfortunately, you've got a very historic building here and it's fragile. So, just like your fine china, if it's very fragile, you're not going to put it in the dishwasher. You're going to clean it in a special way. So, we owe it to this community to really maintain the resources that we're entrusted to protect. And this is one of the resources.
It's a beautiful building that anchors our downtown. So,
it really does.
If you disrupt it, it does take away from the facade that we have in downtown. And
through this process, we learned that we're really one of the few municipal type. Back in the day, several of these were built that they had a dual purpose of a auditorium for community engagement and community gatherings, and also functioned as a governmental place of business. This was once our city hall, still is. We still have our council meetings here, but we're one of the few in the state of Georgia that still have that dual role where there is a functioning, usable, one that is used often auditorium above, your governmental facility.
So you do mention our council meetings. While we're on that topic, is it fair to say that phase 1 will create some disruptions in the municipal building?
Yes. Unfortunately, as Thomasville knows, any forward progress sometimes comes with some disruptions. We're looking at you, Remington Avenue, and how you have caused us all to learn new routes to get to where we want to go. But
all of us.
Yes. And you're getting in my way on my route now, making my time to take twice as long. But this building hosts a lot of meetings, both for the city and just community gatherings in place. So we will be closing the building to outside productions for the auditorium after our current one that is ongoing now, and then we will not host any more public meetings for use in the auditorium until after we reopen, hopefully in July of 2027. And then, as Ricky mentioned, this is also where we host lots of meetings with our city council. We also have planning and zoning commissions, architectural review board, historic preservation commission. There's a lot of citizen boards that happen here. So we will also have to relocate all of those meetings. We're in the process now of identifying where that will be. We're hoping to find one location that we can fit all of these meetings in for a year's time, which is a very big ask. So that is understandably taking us some time. So I would say just if you are one that likes to join us for those meetings on occasion, keep an eye out on thomasville.org and our Facebook page, and we'll be sure that we give plenty of notice once we're ready to announce where those will be.
Yeah.
Also, I think I might know some people that can get the word out, so we'll make sure.
Yeah, you know
we'll
somebody.
Make sure to notify those people to do their job and get the word out.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's talk finances on this. I mean, that's what kind of people want to know. Historic preservation is not cheap. It's necessary, but it's one of those kind of things that again it's taken us a while to get here. It's not like we turn around and do this every 5 years. Tell me about the current budget and then kind of funding sources for this.
Our council voted in the 2026 budget to allocate a little over $6 million to go towards phase one. Those funds are primarily coming from SPLOST, which is the special local option sales tax that we have here in Thomasville. So that is sales tax dollars that is primarily helping to fund that. There also is a little bit of reserves that comes from the hotel motel tax that's for event center space. That is going towards that as well. And then we are also very, very aggressively pursuing various grants. So we've actually had approval from our council to apply for 4 grants in the last month. And our hope is that we'll at least get something. We're going after lots of small grants. Unfortunately, there's not a big fish out there that'll land us $6 million in grants for a project such as this. So we're going after as much as we can to take that burden off of the other financial ways that we have to fund this.
Yeah. And you've already got some grants, I guess, to do the theater floor and things like that, right? That was
yes, over the years,
but
we have gotten some different smaller grants. The historic preservation study that I spoke to just a minute ago, that was actually funded by a grant from the Fox Theater Institute. So it's called Fox Gives. They have been great partners and have really helped hold our hand and step through some of this. And we were invited to apply for a pretty large grant with them, one of 3 facilities that were invited to apply for that grant. So we're all crossing our fingers and putting the best foot forward and hoping that, we'll find out later this year that we actually are awarded that grant. That'll be a very significant contributor to this.
Hopefully that's like being invited to a party that has a great meal attached to it, and show up and it's got appetizers. So I mean that's
if we get this grant, it's a meal.
yeah,
it's a meal, all right. And you mentioned small grants, but every grant helps. Every grant
helps, and I'll take a moment to give out a shout out to Pam, our Pam Schalk, our grants administrator. She does a great job of once we've identified. It's really, if you think about it, it's kind of a process. Our council sets the strategic initiative. We work out the plans to get to where the council wants to go, and then once we have those capital items identified, Pam really takes that list, and then she can go and start trying to find alternate funding sources to kind of take that pressure off of things like utility revenues and SPLOST dollars and items such as that. So, it's really kind of a circle in how we all work together. Very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very collaborative in how we go about finding all of this.
Yeah, we were really bad at helping you find that word there. You saw how
I
was trying to help.
Pretty blankly.
I was like, good, bad.
I don't want to say the wrong word.
Sheryl's very generous to pretend like we could help her to find the word collaborative.
Let's have the 2 guys that speak worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
No, it's okay.
Let's help you with vocab.
The moral of the story is that we are all a team here, and we all work together to support each other. But Pam has done a great job with that.
But I'm glad you bring up Pam, because it is fun to watch her work, because it's like you give her that and she just goes, and she goes and goes. I mean, she's got like the Energizer Bunny when it comes to pursuing grants.
Right.
I love talking to her, because she does not believe in her mind, there's not much that we can't achieve and can't go after.
Yeah.
But she's also realistic. She knows that's not something we.
And it's a good example of how it really takes all parts. You know, we say we're Team Thomasville here. We are Team Thomasville here. We're like a family, and every family has a member that serves a different role. So you have, you know, like a team. You have your team captain that's setting that vision. You have the coaches that are like, okay, let's figure it out. How are we going to get there? And then you've got the players, and they all have a different role to play. And you know, from the engineers that are helping to plot the projects out and where we're going, and to the, you know, PAMs that find how we're going to pay for them, and then marketing and whatnot that are out there making sure the community knows about it. Everybody really serves a role.
Well, and you know, you mentioned also the assessments and the studies and all that. It goes to show you the importance of partnering with some of those companies as well that have been a piece of that, because it helps you to spend responsibly.
Correct.
And not just spend in an area that you may not be aware of. So just to go back and kind of give a shout out as well while we're giving shouts out, can you let us know who some of the firms that we partnered with on those studies were?
So, like I said, the Fox Theater grant allowed us to do that historic preservation study. And this time around, we engaged, the market study was with Theater Projects, and then the overall project is being managed by Turner and Townsend Heary. Now, also, we have to give a shout out to our community stakeholders, because they were a big part of this process as well. So we pulled together stakeholders that included community partners, people who use this facility, and they helped us with developing that market study. They helped us dream big. What could this facility be? And they've served on the steering committee as we've selected the architects that'll help us conduct this project. So this has very much been a community project, and that makes sense because this is a community asset and we all value it.
Yeah, and speaking of community asset, like, we've talked about a lot of infrastructure projects on this podcast and things like that, and the balance of quality of life and infrastructure needs and all that. And this is one of those kind of quality of life kind of things, like what, but why did the city leadership prioritize this renovation and just go into that of, there's that kind of, this is why you elect your leaders to give you the delicate balance of, yes, we want to have, you've got to be strategic in how you spend your money, and I feel like this is a good play here.
It is. If you think about it, this is an asset. We've all had children on this stage. We've all been on that stage. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone in Thomasville that does not have a connection, either have been an audience member or a participant on the stage in this auditorium. So it is very much a community asset, and we own it. It's ours. So we have a choice here, just like you do with your home. You can either let it fall down by not maintaining it, or you invest in it, and it'll be around for many years to come for future generations to enjoy. That's the direction that our council has seen it as. This is a community asset. It is the biggest facility in our community in which you can gather people for performances. So while we do have other auditoriums or stages in our community, they don't have the seating capacity that this auditorium has. So if you want to have something, a dance recital, graduation, community concert, whatnot, and you want to bring everybody together, this is really it. This is where it needs to be. So with that in mind, our council knew that we were getting to the point of we need to do something here. We've put Band-Aids on it for a number of years, new roof here, new HVA system here, touch up some paint there. But it's time. As I mentioned, it's been about 25 years since the last major renovation. And if we want this to be an asset that we can all be proud of and that will be around for our future generations, the time is now. We've got to address it now. So thankfully, our council saw that vision. They understood that, and they prioritized that in the budget. But having said that, our budget is very robust with capital projects. While this one's a little over $6 million, we've got about $54 million in capital projects. So, everything from roads to wastewater treatment plants and landfills and auditoriums, there really is quite the gamut in our capital budget this year.
So as we kind of put a ribbon on this, we mentioned that that's over $6 million for phase one. But phase two obviously requires X amount of dollars as well. What does that price tag look like approximately?
So phase 2 is what we call the facility enhancements, and that's looking to be about 11 million that's priced at right now, just the preliminary numbers. And we don't have a timeline for that one yet. Right now we're focusing on phase 1. That is what we have the budget for right now. We're hopeful that phase 2 will come later, but that's a big number. 11 million is a big number, and we'll have to be very strategic about how that's funded, be it through grants, maybe community giving campaigns, possibly, more SPLOST dollars. I don't know what it's going to look like. That will be a decision that our council will make at some point in time with, if we move forward with that, how we move forward with that, and, when we move forward with that.
Yeah, and that's the key part. It's responsible spending. And, when you're looking at 11 million, you can't always just say, well, we'll do 1 million here and 1 million here. Sometimes, the recommendation will be all 11 million need to go at once.
Right. And this is really why you elect city council leaders. They are the ones that review these requests, prioritize these requests. We overall will make sure that budget requests align with the council's overall strategic plan and vision. And the auditorium is one that they said. They do want to see this facility rehabilitated and brought back to life. So while it may seem like we haven't done this in a while, it has been on the minds of our council for a while, and they just made it a priority.
Well, Sheryl, as always, you bring us such great information, and we appreciate your time. We know you have a lot on your plate.
Well, we appreciate you letting us have this opportunity.
It's important to get that information out, and I don't think you want Austin or I getting that information out, because who knows what we turn it into. So
we're just collaborators.
Yeah, collaborators.
Well, this is an important facility, and people are used to it just being there. So when it closes for a year, people are going to notice. So we want to make sure they understand why.
Yeah.
Well, and the timeline is perfect, because if the timeline continues as is for phase 1, then my daughter's senior year,
she'll be on that stage.
On the return, after obviously, missing out next year on that stage. So
that's right.
I'm going to hold your hands.
That's right. You're going to be zooming in on that construction.
We'll put the pressure on Chris.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, my daughter was the face of that campaign a long time ago, and their tagline was, "Every star deserves a stage." And that holds true for today as well. All these little stars that are out there just starting their dance lessons, or, they're joining the bands now, they deserve for this facility to be here when they're old enough to take that stage. So that's what this is about, is just preserving a very important asset for future generations.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Austin, this is your time right now.
All right, speaking of being on the stage.
Before we get to stage, this is your chance. There's 16 million there. Maybe you can plug in for the extra $400 for those studio seats that we've talked about for the recording the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We got to get Cheryl
we've
a
been
little bit more
looking for like a
comfortable of a chair when she
podcast
comes
room
visit.
out of all this.
I'm not trying to talk about it. I'm comfortable over here.
Oh, sorry, it's only my chair.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, yes, it is your time to shine.
Here we go. It's our bicentennial for the great city of Thomasville, and just want to celebrate that by throwing some history facts at you, it's always great. History facts always are good for cocktail parties, all that kind of stuff, gets people interested in. I'm totally kidding. But here it is, Did You Know segment, with information provided to us by the Thomasville History Center. Did you know that in 1763, Ricky was a sophomore in high school.
Pretty close.
1763, the Treaty of Paris, which ended the French-Indian War, sucedes the land that includes the future Thomas County to the British. So it was, there we go. So that treaty in 1763, which was in Spanish hands and then was taken over, and then it gets
Austin did some research on this.
I did some research. And so there you go. So
the more you know.
The more you know.
That makes you British.
That's right.
But you've lost your accent.
I know, Governor.
Oh, Cheryl, can you keep him to his day job, please? But before we go, we do want to invite the community to join us at Coffee and Conversations. Coffee and Conversations makes its return in 2026.
And I'll bring my British accent if you guys want me to. I mean, I'm totally fine with
How
that.
about if we let Chris White bring his British accent?
Yes.
I would actually pay money for our fearless city manager to talk in a British accent. No way he could pull it off.
He can pull off a lot of things. I got
that.
faith in the guy.
Not that. I don't believe it.
You're saying this you're being recorded.
I know
now.
He's gonna know I'm saying it.
He's
I'm
saying it
right
on.
now.
He's recording it, but he also has the ability to cut it.
I'm throwing the gauntlet down. I don't think.
The real question
Chris
is,
White
will you
has,
keep this in the recording, or are you going to
Yeah,
edit
I'll keep it
out?
in there.
Nobody knows.
Because I want to hear it.
Nobody knows. That's
Nobody-
the phrase, isn't it?
That's right.
But yes, we invite the community to join us at Coffee and Conversations, where the aforementioned city manager will make his 2026 appearance at this great community event, and obviously our great assistant city manager Sheryl Sealy will be there as well. It'll be an opportunity to hear from our leadership about these capital projects that we were just discussing. Obviously, the municipal building is part of that, but there are $54 million worth of other capital projects going on around the community, and they will be spending some time sharing that information with the community. So join us on Tuesday, February 24th from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. at the Thomas County Public Library. Join us, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and gather some great information from our city leadership.
And see if you can get Chris to talk in an English accent.
I have faith in the
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys listening. Sheryl, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for all that you do. And it's hard to put into words, but we appreciate you. And again, thanks to our audience for listening. And again, listen and like us on your favorite listening app, and we will talk to you next time.
You've been listening to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. The show is produced by the City of Thomasville Marketing Department. The show's music is by pond5.com. To learn more about the City of Thomasville, visit thomasville.org or follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.